The feature film at the minute, The Relapse, is on hold. So
just producer you're looking for. That's what it is.
Yeah, well, it's just basically just to find an investor and just get it off the ground and shoot it properly. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, you can find money almost anywhere, but then it depends on how you're going to shoot it and how to do the story. You need to be able to do the story justice.
Yeah, I suppose that's the biggest thing for me, because I don't have money. All I have is the money that I earn from work. So, but the beauty of that is that I can do it the way I want to do it, and I suppose
you have the creative freedom.
I suppose that's the big thing for you, isn't it? There's one thing getting a load of money, but you have to have a load of money while doing something. It has to be your vision rather than somebody.
Well, you see, this is the thing with regard to the industry, because clearly I know everything about it. No, the one thing you have is you, on one side of the fence you have your creatives. So you have your people who come up with the ideas, who write, who produce, who act, and do all of the other stuff that's wonderful and visual. But then on the other side of it is inevitably you need money at a certain point. It doesn't make a difference if it's £1, if it's 1,000, if it's 100, if it's 1,000,000, whatever. You need to be able to finance it in some way or form, and that's where art meets corporate interest.
Yeah.
And you have to try and find a sort of a happy sort of marriage of the two, and make sure nobody's stepping on each other's toes, and that it's not all about the money on one side, but at the same time you need to make sure that you're not trying to be too assertive with the creative side of it, or be sometimes you can come across as being a bit too pretentious, or just a bit too sort of
so where is that balance? I mean,
that's the thing. That's one of those open-ended questions that's so open that you can't. As far as I'm concerned personally, the answer is unique to every project. So you have one film, and you say
it's how much you're invested in it, isn't it? So if you've
it's an amalgamation of things. It's your investment of time. It's the relevance of the project in the time that you're shooting it, whether or not it has any of that there. It's the story itself, whether it needs to be told. It's how much you believe in that story. It's how much other people involved believe in that. It's an amalgamation of things that come that come in and are unique to that project. You can't say for example, to use better known movies or ones that exist with actors that you would know. So what did we mention earlier? Phone Booth, right? You can't compare the situation behind the production of Phone Booth to say something like I don't know, Dark Knight. They're two different movies, even though they have decent budgets. They're still two decent cast and decent directors.
So it's interesting talking about something like Dark Knight. How does everyone feel about, in terms of, because that was quite a big budget film. It was a big budget film, but lots of people loved it for lots of different reasons. But Nolan would have had issues with getting his vision out because it's a DC comic book.
But then again, that's another aspect that plays into it, is the office politics, if you will, because everyone knows who Christopher Nolan is, or the vast majority of any of the film-loving world knows who Christopher Nolan is, and who Jonathan Nolan is as well. So when you get a director, he's essentially a named director. So when you get somebody who's a named anything, they have a certain amount of pull because their name brings that with it. It's like wearing a designer brand of something. You can have a pair of jeans, one's wearing plain Jane, whatever, and somebody's wearing a designer. The designer, everyone's going to think that that's where the quality is, So with regard to a named director, say like Nolan, I could direct something, and I have done. But the problem is nobody knows who I am. So I'm not a named director. So if anyone were to come along and do a project,
when you have a little bit of clout, you have more say.
Exactly, that's what it brings. With the creative, it's the name and the reputation that brings the clout. But with the producers and the investors, unfortunately, it is essentially. It's not to say blindly that it's just the money. I mean, look at is it Kevin Feige who is the producer for the Marvel movies?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he's not just a guy who produces this, that, and the other. He has a certain hand in the creative side of it as well, in understanding not just what sounds or looks good, but also what's marketable. If you put this in, this will bring that audience in. If you put that in, that will bring that audience in. But then you've got to find that balance that says, well, bringing that element in take away from the narrative that the writers created. So it's all a balancing. But again, it strengthens my argument even more so. I think that it varies from film to film. It doesn't make a difference what the project is. It could be a small budget guerrilla movie all the way up to a Marvel movie. And you go across the board from the kinds of movies that are out there. It's always going to be a different process for each one.
Sub said he had the sales trainer guy that told him that our biggest USP somehow was the fact that we'd done so many songs, we recorded sort of 90, 100 plus songs at the time. We were just recording those. We loved recording, capturing moments. So he said our strongest point was the fact that we recorded and finished everything we started. And then I was thinking, okay, so how are we going to use that as something? Because no one cares about our songs, no one's heard our songs. I only heard the few that were on a Hip Hop Connection. So the idea was, you know what, we'll sample it. We'll sample the best moments, snippets of songs that we really felt captured something, and use that to make new songs. Yeah. So like the original To Live the Life idea. So that was the idea we brought, and then we said we're just going to make an album. Yeah. And just enjoy that and make an album and do that. And then obviously, naturally, the thought process was, remember there was supposed to be a film to this.
What would you rather do? Something where it is more of a guerrilla, independent type film, or one where you are part of a larger production, but your involvement perhaps might be different in terms of that? Where do you see that? And what would you rather do?
Both of them. I like to do the guerrilla style where it's a small band, small group, and you're like having to do wearing lots of hats. You're doing the editing, doing visual effects, and you're behind the camera or doing the sound, being the sound man. I like that side, but I also wouldn't mind being part of a team where you're one person doing just the visual effects. There's other people doing visual effects. So I'm working on a particular scene, and somebody else is working on another scene for a big project. So I'd love to be part of that as well. So we'd like to be in both worlds.
Yeah, that's. Where do you see that?
Well, past experience for me, when you're singing or something like that,
Very similar
they try and put you in a box, like you should just do R&B, you should do such and such. So from past experience, anything to do with me, my creativity, I want to be independent, guerrilla, as they say. Let's just keep it raw. I'd want control over it, because if anyone else takes over, then it just loses it for me. And I just don't want it to go there. But I would be involved in other projects that aren't mine.
So but they're a bit more independent.
That's it. So anything of mine would definitely be independent, and you know, a bit of both. Whatever pays, damn it.